Hello guys and welcome back to the Traitors US Season 2. Still got a crook neck, unfortunately, so that's why I've got the beanbag on my neck. But we are getting ready to jump into our first roundtable and our first murder of the series. Who's it going to be? Who is the target going to be? Are the traitors going to be able to evade capture? We'll have to wait and see. I am very excited to jump straight back into the series. It has been literally 5 minutes since I recorded the last episode. So either way, I'm very excited to jump back in and have a great time talking about it with all of you. But before we get into the episode, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. And let us, without much further ado, start talking about it. Up in the traitor's turret, we're deciding who to kill, and they land on one of the housewives. Now, I was thinking, would it not be smarter to not kill a housewife and to put the blame on the housewives for being like, well, why didn't a housewife die? Surely the traitors would want to split that group up. So by killing one of the housewives, it would show that they wouldn't have been in that group, but by not killing them, there must be a traitor within that group. That was my logic, at least. If all the housewives survived the night, it's not exactly the best show for them, because who were the other two that got off? Was it Bob and Sam? I think they basically ruled out Bob and Sam straight away and went, let's go for one of the housewives. And I was sat there like, I really don't think that this is a smart idea personally, and I've got my revenge and taken out Sam. Justice for Britney Spears. But anyway, it is what it is. I think that Danielle and Carolyn are playing very, very different games. I think Carolyn is a big reactionary, big on just making moves and then dealing with the effects afterwards. I feel like that's kind of how you have to play Survivor. It's very reactionary, it's very in the moment, and you make decisions on the fly. Danielle is a Big Brother player. Big Brother is all about long-term strategy. If I get rid of this person now, how is that going to help me next week? If that person goes then what happens the week after? What if I don't win head of household? What if this person wins head of household? Is that going to affect me? She's always thinking about every single possible outcome. So obviously those two clashed immediately over their different views. And Bob the Drag Queen was just sat there like, hello guys, I'm here by the way. I'm also here and I'm willing to help out, but also you guys seem like you know what you're doing, so I'm just going to let you get on with it. Now, Carolyn didn't want to kill Dorinda, but the names that came it down to were Dorinda, Dolores and Robin. Now, Dorinda had that massive thing with Ivor, so it would put some blame in Ivor's direction. But also, is that not like a really obvious move? But then is it so obvious that it could be something that he would do? This is why the traitors are so difficult. Because every single move could be the obvious move, or it could be the opposite of an obvious move, or it could be a double bluff of the obvious move. So it's just so confusing, you don't know what you're doing. But either way, we don't know who's been killed. Let's head into breakfast. So at breakfast, we had a couple of conversations to talk about. We had Gabby and Thomas, not Thomas, who's Thomas? Tony, discussing whether Dorinda is a faithful or not. Was she being a bit OTT with her sort of outrage last night? Was it fake? Was it that of a faithful? We don't know. Well, obviously we do because we know who the traitors are. But it is interesting from a gameplay point of view. Was that just one big show? Was it a gameplay strategy? Who knows? But then we have Ian walking in and she's just an icon and I have no choice but to stand. Do you know what I mean? She's so funny. She's hilarious. Everything that comes out of her mouth is brilliant. She literally walked into breakfast and was like, yeah, I didn't know what was going to happen. I'll be honest, I'm here to vibe. I'm just here to chill and have a brilliant time. And because she's sat next to Wells is just listening to her chat away. And he's like, I'm sticking close to this woman because my God, she can talk for England or America or Dubai because she's actually from Dubai. So yeah, honestly, big whoops to her. And Wells, I think it's a smart strategy sticking next to someone that talks a lot so you don't have to talk as much. Very smart there. Then Bob came in, realized that Dorinda wasn't there and was like, oh my God. Just a lot. OTT. But then again, Bobby's an OTT person. He is just over the top and very entertaining. So I feel like it kind of played into his strategy. No one seemed to like pick up on the over the topness. I think one or two people were like, that's a lot. But the person who did notice it was Carolyn, and she's a traitor. So I feel like her opinion doesn't matter because she already knows that he's a traitor. She's not a faithful, working it out. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously we found out that Dorinda was murdered. Rest in peace, Dorinda. You didn't make that much of a mark on the show, I'll have to be honest. You've not made me want to watch your show, which I think was Real Housewives of New York. Is she the New York one? I can't remember. There's Potomac. Where the fuck is that? Who thought, yeah, Real Housewives of this random place that no one's heard of? That's smart. But either way, I think that's Robin. Robin is very entertaining. I do like her. So, yeah. But Dorinda, it's a shame. It is what it is. You had to go home. Bye-bye now. So before we get into the mission, Danielle and Dylan were having a little cheeky conversation about who they thought the traitors could be. And Danielle was like, Dylan, I feel like one of the housewives must be a traitor because it's such a smart move to take out another like housewife so that they think that the housewives aren't the traitors. And Dylan was like, yes, that is exactly what they do. And Dylan trusts Danielle 100%, which, bless him, is the complete wrong choice here. Absolutely wrong choice. You should never trust Danielle. Danielle is the only person in the world I would not trust in this kind of game because I have seen her play. I haven't seen her play on season 7 of All Stars, Big Brother, but I have heard that she is great on that series as well. But when she was on season 3, this woman could play. She could play a house. She made it all the way to the end, never being nominated. I think, if my memory serves me correctly, apart from maybe in like the last like week when it's like 3 people and they have to go up for nomination, do you know what I mean? Even then, I'm fairly certain that she won and Lisa, she decided to take Lisa because she thought she could win against Lisa. But either way, it is what it is. My point here being, Dylan, do not trust this woman. Do not trust this woman at all. So we had an interesting conversation. Jeremy was talking to Robin and was like, I think it's Bob the drag queen potentially. And Robin was like, nah, but I do think that it's Wells. And then later on, she was having a conversation with Wells and a couple of other people. And Wells was like, I think it was a really dumb choice to kill Dorinda. And Robin was like, no, I think it's actually perfect. Like, it really does give us a lot to think about. It's a confusing kill. If they went for someone like Danielle and I was like, then it would have been obvious why they killed her. But like they went for someone else. They're trying to think outside the box and confuse us. And Wells just sat there like, why is she defending the traitor's decision? Is she a traitor now? And I'm sitting there like, do you really think a traitor is going to be so blatant with, oh yeah, I completely agree with what the traitors did? Do you really think that that's how that works? It's like these people have never seen the show before. Have you never studied the traitors and worked out like how they play the game? You're not going to be so brazen as to be like, oh yeah, I think that was absolutely smart. That's such a faithful thing to do. If anything, that would have cleared Robin in my brain and I'd have gone, okay, I trust Robin. Cool. No one defends the traitors. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that she did, I was like, yeah, fair. She was like thinking outside the box. She's understood why they did it. And it was to fuck with everyone. That's just how I feel about the situation. Robin, you queen. So the challenge was fairly bog standard, I can't lie. It was the run into the woods, find the coins, release the people. And the new people that are joining the game, Boston Rob, Derek from Big Brother, and Wes from the challenge. Now, Derek and Wes are people I've heard of, but I don't necessarily know. Like, I haven't seen them play the games. But maybe this will make me want to go back and check out their Big Brother series. The Big Brother series are just a commitment. They're like 40 episodes long and like they just take me a while to get through. So that's why I haven't watched all of them yet. And I'm busy with YouTube, guys. I'm busy. But either way, I found it really, really funny how Brittany was not happy that Derek was here. And Carolyn was like, oh, why is Wes here? This is, oh. But either way, when they were released, they were able to give out shields to whoever they chose. But we'll talk more about that later. There were some funny moments. Everyone was introducing themselves to Boston Rob. And he was like, fuck all these people. I don't care who you are. Just put the fucking coins in my box. It isn't going to get you a shield at the end of the day. And then Iron went up with her coins and was like, you, who are you? Where are you from? What TV show did you do? And she was just asking all of their resumes, and I was absolutely howling. It was so unbelievably funny. And then Ian was like, okay, fine, Wes, I'll put my coins in your box. Just so funny. But they did manage to make 15 grand. They did do well, I have to give them that. They got the full amount of money. But now we've got two brand new people in the castle along with Boston Rob. Boston Rob is a traitor. Those other two are faithfuls. So I feel like they've balanced the game out a little bit. This is also the first time that someone has come in late and been a traitor, as far as I'm aware. So that is a very, very interesting twist in the tale. So before we head into the round table, just a few observations, just a couple of things. Sam was saying that he believes that Bob the Drag Queen and Carolyn are completely innocent. And then Chriselle and Jeremy were saying, Chriselle and Jeremy were the sus ones. I'm actually thinking that wasn't Sam and that was actually Tom. I'm getting Tom and Sam mixed up a lot in my notes. And that is not good. So I'm fairly certain Tom said that actually, which is really funny because do you remember in the last episode when I said if only he said that Bob the Drag Queen was innocent? And he just has... So he's, over the course of 2 episodes, claimed that all 3 of the traitors are innocent in some way. This bro cannot play the game. We can't allow him to play the game. It's just not fair on him. But anyway, next up, somebody, I can't remember who it was, called out the clique between Chriselle, Gabby and Nikki. That is going to be something that they're going to have to look out for because a voting block of 3 in this kind of game is dangerous. It's 3 votes that could be piled on top of a couple of others and send somebody home. And it just isn't helpful at this point in the game. We need to break up cliques and make sure that people are scared to trust anybody. Then we had Brittany saying the most obvious line of the entire show. And I just sat there like, this woman was good at Big Brother. Huh? She sat there and she was like, guys, tonight we really need to figure out who the traitor is. And I was like, well, yeah. Like, yeah, duh. Like, yeah, that's how the game works, bestie. It's like she was just working that out for the first time. Like, oh, guys, oh my god, we need to figure out who the traitor is. Oh my god, that's right. Now I've got it. Now I understand. And I was sat there like, huh? Now, Danielle also asked Derek for his shield because, and I gotta say, she's selling it. She's selling it very well to Derek. She said to Derek, look, I think that the traitors are going to come for me and try and pin it onto Brittany, or do the same and pin Brittany's murder on me. So can you give me a shield just to put my mind at rest so that I don't get murdered tonight? And I was like, oh, Danielle, you're playing a little bit hard and fast, but like, you're convincing me. Your acting skills are top notch. Like, you're actually doing very, very well right now. So I have to give you credit where credit is due. So this round table was absolutely wild and crazy. The first one always is just chaotic and crazy with people just throwing random names out. But the first thing that happened was Bob bringing up the change in Wells's personality. Now, Wells is from Bachelor in Paradise. I don't know what that show is. I'm assuming it's a spin-off of The Bachelor. But either way, his defense to that was absolutely abysmal. He was like, oh, you think I'm a traitor? No, I've just gone round and tried to befriend everybody. And I was like, that's exactly what a traitor would do, is try to get on everybody's good side. Try and be friends with everyone. Try to integrate themselves into the group so that they don't appear suspicious. You've literally just given them the perfect fodder for why you are a traitor. And then other Bob, which was, oh, I don't know who the other Bob is. I'm just going to call him other Bob, was defending Wells. But then Robin was also jumping on Wells and being like, nah, I think it is you. Because when we were sat in that room and I was like, nah, I think it's a good thing that the traitors did that. I think that was a smart move from them. You were going, nah, no, I don't think it was. I don't think it was. And that makes you look suspicious. And I was like, wow, woo. Didn't think we were gonna go there so quickly, but okay. So then Tom talked about how when he ripped off his mask at the first round table when they got picked, he questioned Chriselle and Jeremy and was like, look, I think it could be you guys. And Chriselle was like, you came out with a lot of like vim and vigor about how it could be me, but like you've got nothing to back it up apart from just vibes. We're not voting off of vibes. And you made me feel uncomfy. You give me a bad vibe. So maybe you're the traitor if we're voting just purely off vibes. And then she was basically like, you just created chaos yesterday. And I feel like it's all because I know your ex and you're bitter about it or something like that. And I was like, Chriselle, you didn't have to go so hard on him. That's kind of crazy, I can't lie. That was kind of a little bit out of pocket. But like, fair game. You got to do what you got to do in this game. Then the last couple of points was Dolores believing that it could be Ivor because of the whole argument that they had with Dorinda in the previous episode. Ivor thought it was Dorinda, but obviously she's murdered, so it can't be her. And I have to say, Danielle pointing out that it could be a housewife and that she feels like it's between Robin and Dolores. I was like, that is a very, very interesting point that Danielle has brought up to the table. And everyone was like, that's not a bad question. That's not a bad question. Could it be a housewife? Could it potentially be one of them stirring the pot, trying to work up crazy things to really throw everybody off the case? You're forgetting that these people watched Phaedra fade into the background and still be a very, very big presence in the castle. So I think they're worried about something similar happening with this series. But the thing is that I would always be thinking in the complete opposite direction. I would be thinking, well, they had a big housewife presence last year. They wouldn't be focusing on a big housewife presence this year. The first series was a Survivor Legend that did amazingly well. Last series, the Survivor Legend did horrendously poorly. So I really do feel like I would be looking at the people who have really gone under the radar completely, but could still be good picks based on the previous series. I don't know, but like, I feel like Danielle is the really obvious option. How are people not thinking that she's a traitor? Because I'd be sat there and going, listen, I know what you're like. I know what you're like. You could be a perfect traitor. You would be like, I would hate to say it, but you would make the perfect traitor. And it's my least favorite thing ever, but I would have to say that to her, and I would be correct. So voting time was as follows. We had Nikki voting for Ian. God knows why. Like, actually, God knows what Nikki was doing there. Honestly, I was like, what are you thinking? Sam voted for Wells. Ivor voted for Dolores, presumably because Dolores thought it might be him. I don't know. Then we had Ian voting for Tony. Bob voting for Ivor. Dolores voting for Ivor. Wells voting for Robin. Danielle voting for Robin. Gabby voting for Robin. Jeremy voting for Wells. Tom voting for Jeremy. Chriselle voting for Tom, Tony voting for Wells, Bob the Drag Queen voting for Ivor, Robin voting for Wells, Brittany voting for Jeremy, Kira voting for Ivor, Dylan voting for Robin, and then Carolyn voting for Wells. When I tell you, it just kept on flitting backwards and forwards between Wells is in the front, Robin's in the front, Ivor's in the front. Oh my god, who is it going to be? I literally didn't know who it's going to be until the very, very last minute, because it all came down to that final vote. We came to Carolyn's vote, and it was 4 to Wells, 4 to Robin, 4 to Ivor. I was like, huh? This is the closest a three-way tie has been since we had, what's her face? Ash. It was Ash, Brian, and I want to say Diane in season 2 of the Traitors UK. That was a tense round table. And this was just as close with the voting. But Carolyn did vote for Wells, which did send him home. I'm gutted. I'm sad to see him go. But I don't think he defended himself particularly well. He seemed to shift the blame. He said a couple of things that would have made him sound like a traitor. So I just don't feel like he did his best to defend himself and get himself out of that sticky situation. So alas, you have to go home. But he did kill his exit speech. He got up there and was like... And I was like, oh my god, he's doing the sarcastic slow clap. And everyone thought he'd been caught. And then he went, I'm a faithful. And then claps again. And I was like, this guy's bitter. But also, I'm here for it because I'd be doing the exact same. So, it's time to talk about the aftermath of the round table and then the little cliffhanger that we were left on. There's not really much left to talk about, so a couple of key things. Dylan, Ian, and Robin were all standing in a room and they were like, now, who was the person that instigated the whole Wells thing? It was Bob the Drag Queen and Robin. And Robin was like, well, it's not me. And they were like, well, if it's not you, then maybe Bob the drag queen is a traitor because he did instigate the whole Wells thing. Now, they're correct. So I actually can't even dispute their reasoning. I think it's flimsy, but I think that their reasoning is going to help them catch Bob the drag queen because, bro, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I don't think he's going to be able to defend himself succinctly and clearly enough to persuade everyone in the room not to vote him out. It's going to be a tough one, I feel like. It's going to be a real tough one. And then we found out who got everybody's shields. Tony got Rob's shield. Derek gave his to Dylan. And then Jeremy got Wes's shield as well, which was interesting. So Dylan, Jeremy, and Tony are all safe from murder tonight. The turret people don't know that, apart from the fact that obviously they know that Tony's got Rob's shield because Rob is rocked up to the Traitors Tower and been like, hello. And Carolyn's like, oh my god. Bob the drag queen's like, oh my god. And Danielle's like, for fuck's sake, I wanted to murder this guy. I wanted to get him out of the castle because this guy is dangerous and will turn on everybody here. I'm scared purely because I feel like Danielle, Bob the drag queen, and Carolyn may not turn on each other. I think the person most likely to turn on any of them is Danielle. But with Boston Rob in the mix, it's going to be a fight to try and get rid of him as soon as possible. Because the longer he's in the game, the more dangerous he becomes. And that is just a rule for having him in the game. Do not put him in the game. And if you do, get rid of him ASAP. ASAP. So Danielle, I'm holding out hope for you. I need you to do well in this game. I really need you to do well. But that is it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that YouTube stuff that you guys do so well. But until next time, make sure to keep on ranting. And I'll see you guys later. I'll be back in a couple of days for episode 3. So make sure you stay tuned. Keep on ranting. Bye now.